Chapter 1. The Nature of the Mind and the Illusion of Free Will. Did you really think of an idea yourself, or is it something others made you think instead? This question is one of the most fundamental and unsettling inquiries that philosophy and psychology have wrestled with for centuries. The concept of free will is among the deepest and most complex issues in human experience. Most of us believe that our choices are conscious. However, how much of those choices are truly under our control is debatable. As Friedrich Nietzsche said, there are no facts, only interpretations. Our mind does not perceive the world as it is, but as we interpret it. These interpretations are shaped by past experiences, emotions, cultural codes, and even hidden motives in the subconscious. Carl Gustav Jung argued that consciousness is just the surface, and the subconscious is what truly matters. As Jung stated, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Understanding how the brain works is critical to grasping the limits of free will. Our brain conserves energy by relying on shortcuts and heuristics to make quick decisions. This adaptation helps survival, but also makes us vulnerable to manipulation. Neurologist David Eagleman's research shows that much of our decision-making happens unconsciously, shaped by external influences before we are even aware. In one study, brain activity was found to change seconds before participants consciously made decisions. This suggests that part of decision-making is unconscious. So who controls those external influences if our decisions are not entirely conscious? Social psychology experiments also reveal how easily people change their minds. Solomon Asch's conformity experiment demonstrated that participants often conform to clearly wrong group opinions, illustrating the power of social pressure and environmental influence on individual thought. Recognizing the limits of free will is the first step toward understanding mind control. When someone realizes how much their own thoughts are shaped by others, that is when true freedom begins. Chapter 2. The Basic Principles of Mind Control and Their Philosophical Foundations. Mind control is not a concept confined to science fiction. Throughout history, subtle strategies have been developed to guide individuals and societies. But how does mind control work? How can human thought be manipulated? The answers lie in several basic principles rooted in an understanding of human nature. The first principle is creating a zone of safety and acceptance. The brain immediately defends itself when it senses a threat and resists new ideas. Therefore, mind control is not an aggressive assault but a gradual, gentle process. Sigmund Freud described the subconscious as a storehouse of repressed desires, implying that instead of attacking directly, it is more effective to leave a note on its door, a soft touch. Creating a safe mental space enables ideas to settle in. The second principle is Socratic questioning. The great philosopher Socrates said in 400 BCE, "I cannot teach anybody anything. I can only make them think." Instead of forcing a direct idea, encouraging someone to question and discover for themselves builds stronger and more lasting acceptance. The mind defends ideas it discovers on its own. The third principle is planting the thought seed priming. Modern psychology calls this priming, where a small stimulus leads to the development of more complex ideas. For example, telling someone you remind me of a successful person leads them to behave more successfully. The mind builds upon the impression it receives. The fourth principle is speaking as the inner voice. Carl Jung said, "He who looks outside dreams. He who looks inside awakes." Mind control experts aim to become the inner voice, suggesting ideas as if they already belong to the person. Saying maybe you've always wanted this is more effective than you want this because inner voices are not questioned. The fifth principle is mirroring and reflecting. People trust those who resemble them. Mirroring body language, tone, and word choice sends a safe signal to the brain, making the person adopt the ideas as their own. The sixth principle is building ideas gradually. No one changes their mind overnight. Ideas are layered step by step, first creating uncertainty, then questioning, small affirmations, proposing the new idea, and finally having the person repeat it as if it were their own. This process roots ideas deeply. Philosophically, these principles connect to human nature. Thomas Hobbes said humans are fundamentally self-interested and seek security, making them resistant to new ideas. John Locke described the mind as a tabula rasa, shaped by experience. Modern neuroscience supports these views with data. Chapter 3. The power of language and meaning, shaping reality. Language is not just a tool for communication, but also shapes our thoughts, perceptions, and beliefs. It creates and molds reality, making language one of the most powerful weapons in mind control. George Orwell warned in 1984, "If thought corrupts language, language can also corrupt thought." Totalitarian regimes manipulate language to reshape thinking, as seen in the concept of doublethink, where contradictory beliefs are held simultaneously. Language's power is evident not only in propaganda, but also in everyday politics and advertising, where simple slogans evoke strong emotions and mobilize masses. Benjamin Lee Horf's linguistic relativity hypothesis argues that the structure of language shapes worldview. Some languages with more color terms affect how people perceive colors. The choice of words, tone, repetition, and metaphor play critical roles. Advertising phrases like new and improved create impressions of superiority, even when changes are minimal. The mind unconsciously accepts these messages as truth. Metaphors concretize abstract concepts, e.g., time is money, influencing behavior and perception. Language also affects memory and perception. The way a story is told can alter how an event is remembered, making language manipulation central to propaganda. Framing information in positive or negative ways shapes opinions, reducing unemployment versus rising unemployment. Thus, language is at the heart of mind control, shaping not what people think, but what they will think. Chapter 4. Suggestion and subconscious effects, the hidden mechanisms of the mind. One of the most effective methods of mind control is suggestion, influencing a person's decisions and behaviors without their conscious awareness. Freud's psychoanalysis emphasized the subconscious' dominant role in behavior. Conscious resistance can be bypassed only by reaching the subconscious. Neuro-linguistic programming (NLP) builds on this with indirect, guiding phrases like "perhaps you have always wanted this," which merge with a person's inner voice. Psychologist Robert Cialdini's principles of influence, repetition, authority, social proof, reciprocity strengthen subconscious messaging. Subliminal messages, though debated, aim to affect consumers by delivering stimuli below conscious perception. Experiments have shown that subliminal prompts like "you are thirsty" increase behaviors such as drinking water, revealing the subconscious's power. Political propaganda uses repetitive slogans, colors, and symbols to evoke subconscious associations, e.g., red signifies power and danger. Blue evokes calm and trust. Carl Jung's archetypes, universal symbols in the collective unconscious, are used to target subconscious feelings. These subconscious suggestions are difficult to resist and often go unnoticed, making them the stealthiest tools of mind control. Chapter 5. Social influence and group dynamics, the societal face of mental manipulation. Humans are social beings. Living in groups has been vital for survival. However, the social nature exerts immense pressure on individual thinking. Solomon Asch's conformity experiments revealed that individuals often abandon their own perceptions to align with group norms due to fear of rejection and desire for belonging. Stanley Milgram's obedience studies showed how authority can override personal conscience, leading people to perform harmful acts under orders. Social media creates echo chambers, filtering information to reinforce existing beliefs and radicalize opinions. Michel Foucault described modern societies as systems of mental and physical control, using the panopticon metaphor to illustrate constant surveillance shaping behavior, a concept extended today. By digital monitoring, social norms shape behavior by pushing individuals to hide true thoughts and conform. Henry Bergson said, "In society, the individual is molded by majority opinion. Losing uniqueness, mind control consciously directs the shaping process." Chapter 6. Historical examples and the dark side of mind control. Mind control is not just theoretical, but has had profound historical impacts, with sometimes devastating results. Joseph Goebbels' Nazi propaganda used relentless repetition of big lies to shape millions' beliefs. fueling hatred and atrocities. During the Cold War, brainwashing techniques developed for psychological warfare sought to forcibly alter prisoners' minds. Today's social media algorithms deepen filter bubbles, trapping users in their own ideological worlds. Cults and charismatic leaders like Jim Jones and David Koresh illustrate extreme mind control. Using trust and stepwise indoctrination to enforce obedience, social movements employ symbols, slogans, and rituals to create collective consciousness, which can lead to positive change or chaos. Chapter 7. Protecting your mind and developing awareness, the path to freedom. Against these complex techniques, self-protection is vital. True freedom comes from freeing the mind from both external and internal chains. The first step is cultivating awareness, or meta-consciousness, observing thoughts without judgment, as promoted in mindfulness practices. Critical thinking is the strongest defense, questioning sources, motives, and truths instead of accepting information passively. Emotional awareness helps recognize when fear, anger, or pride are being exploited. Diversifying information sources prevents manipulation by one-sided narratives. Evaluating social circles and nurturing those that encourage open discussion enhances mental resilience. Taking time for silence and reflection reconnects with one's inner voice and strengthens autonomy. Remember, true freedom begins not in the world outside, but in the mastery of your own mind. Guard it wisely. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. See you in the next video.